Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm your host, Buckning, and today we're going to go through the portfolio really quickly. We're not going to go through it all, and then I'm going to show you how I do a budget, and I'm just going to do random numbers and example budget to give you an idea of what to look for so that you can find the money that you need to invest if you're feeling like you're living check to check or you're feeling like you're just not getting ahead from certain things. And so we will get right into it here because it's a long explanation on why I do it this way, and I'm going to give you the details on that. So we will get right into it here. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is where we put $100 a week into a tax-free savings account to build a dividend portfolio right in front of your eyes. And if you're not new, welcome back. So the portfolio today is closing out at $6,002.47. We're up $25.97, up 0.43%. For the 1 week, we are down $75.73, down 1.25%. For the 1 month, we are up $18.78, up 0.31%. For the 3 months, we are up $307.87, up 5.41%. And for the 1 year, we are up $921.10, up 18.13%. And that is the same for all. As we all know, every week we do put in $100 every single week into this tax-free savings account to build a dividend portfolio right in front of your eyes. And we purchase our or increase our position on Fridays. But here is the proof that I did put $100 in, just for those that are curious. So that is pretty much it, guys. That's the update for the portfolio. So we'll just get right into the example budget here. And I got it pulled up on my Mac here. And so this is just an example. And so when it comes to examples, these are numbers that I just kind of pulled out of the air based off of averages. This is not my personal budget. This is just to give you an idea so we can explain it in a very simple and understandable way. So I set it up. So how do I set up a budget? So income, we're going to base the income off of an average of about $60,000 a year, which is, I do believe, the average in Canada. This is a person that rents, has a vehicle payment, has vehicle insurance, internet, cell phone, and a loan and a credit card. Spends money on food, gas, and miscellaneous. So that could be anything from Netflix subscriptions, so on and so forth, that are really just don't have their own category. You can do it how you want to do it. And we'll go through that. So how do I set up a budget? So based on North America, most of the time people are getting paid on one of two ways, but there's actually like 4 ways that people get paid. So there's bi-weekly, which is the most common one, which you get paid every 2 weeks. Just so you know, bi-weekly income is not the same as monthly income or semi-monthly income. And bi-weekly payments are not the same as semi-monthly payments. And I'll go through that as well. Some people get paid on a weekly basis, and some people get paid on a weekly basis. However, in North America, I do believe the most common way is bi-weekly or semi-monthly. On the other side of the world, like in Asia or something, typically it's a month-to-month basis, and there are some ways to get paid weekly. And so how do we set up the budget? We want to break it down. We want to break it down into 2 halves. So as you can see on the left side of your screen, we have the first half, which is anywhere from the 1st to the 15th. And the second half, where it is the 16th to the end of the month. The reason I set it up like this is because it's easier to manage than managing in the month, and you can just follow it from paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of people do anyways, because sometimes they get messed up when they go do a monthly budget of all their expenses, and then they find that they have no money left because they're getting paid bi-weekly because they're doing a little bit of overspending that is not conscious. The first half is any expenses that come up anywhere from the 1st to the 15th. So on this example, we have someone who rents, and their rent is $1,200, typically done on the 1st of the month. So I set it up in a way, so I show them that, okay, let's put your expenses. This rent is a fixed expense because it'll never change unless they increase it year after year. Let's put it at $1,200. So we put that there. Then they tell me their vehicle payment, if they have one, which is in this example, $150 bi-weekly. So we set it up as bi-weekly. So we put it in the first half And then we also put it in the second half, as you can see on the right side of the screen. Okay. Vehicle insurance is monthly. They do monthly payments of $109. Little tip when it comes to vehicle insurance, if you can pay the whole amount of insurance in one lump sum for the year, you actually save a bit of money, because when you do monthly, there's actually an admin fee or some sort of fee when it comes to insurance companies. So just a tip for you there. In North America, that's what I've found. This person on variable expenses. So these expenses, what are variable expenses? Variable expenses are things that can change, that vary month to month based on what you're spending it on. Okay. So food, this person said $600 a month. So we split it into two, $300 for the first half, gas, $300 a month roughly. So we put 150 in miscellaneous. We put about 100. Okay. So what I do is I add up all the fixed expenses and the variable expenses. Okay. And what we get for a total amount is $2,009 for the first half. For the most part, people are struggling at this part because they find that their first half of the month is pretty heavy, heavy, and they're left with a deficit. That's what the parentheses mean, the brackets. They're negative $509, so they feel like they don't have any money, which can lead into the mindset of, I don't have any money left, so I borrowed it from the credit card. And then you get in this habit of, or going into the overdraft of your bank account, so on and so forth. And you just feel like you're in this rat race, and it's a vicious cycle because you're not understanding that you actually might actually have enough money. We're just doing a little bit overspending, and then it just turns into a snowball effect, and boom, right? And so on the second half, this is where typically your second paycheck comes in. We put that as an income, and this is net, not gross. Net is after taxes, gross is before taxes. Just so you know, credit card expense, I do put that as a fixed expense because it is a debt. You can decide what you want to do with that, but typically fixed expenses are typically things that don't change and that are things that you need. I guess I could say, quote unquote, need. Okay. And you don't need certain things, just so you know. So credit card, we put at a minimum of $100 as the minimum payment. Vehicle, we're sitting at $150 because it's bi-weekly, as you can see there. Internet, $80 a month. That usually lands anywhere from the 16th to the end. In this example, cell phone bill, $100, and then a loan at $200 a month typically falls at the end of the month. Food is the same because we determined that total for the month was about $600. That includes fast food for those that eat a lot of fast food every day. So we split it into two, gas split into two, so you can see that they're the same. Total amount of expenses is $1,180, and leftover is a surplus of $320. So if we take those amounts, you're a deficit of $189. You're behind $189. That's what is this example. So of course, people will feel like they are behind. Okay, so how does someone that feels behind get ahead? How do they change that? Well, the budget is the answer, but budgeting it in a way where it's manageable, where you break it into two halves. You don't eat an elephant all in one bite. You eat an elephant one bite at a time, as the saying goes. And you take a look at the overall picture, okay? So in this example, we have a deficit of $189 if you take the leftover from each half. And that might be why someone may feel like they're behind in expenses, right? So what can we do? This is the thing that we can do. Typically, fixed expenses don't change, so we have to keep those the way it is. So you can do one of two things. You can reduce expenses on the variable side, or you can try and find an extra income, whether it's delivering food, like skip the dishes, Uber, whatever it is, just to find some sort of extra income in that sense, or finding a second job, maybe a part-time job or something of the sort. The first thing that I typically will advise anyone, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm definitely not your financial advisor, I'm just showing you how I'm thinking and analyzing this and showing you what changes need to be made. So let's say they're down $189. Let's say the majority of the food that they're eating, the $600 a month, is fast food. I guarantee you that if it is a lot of fast food, then other than groceries, you can cut a bit of expenses there. So let's be generous. Let's put it at $250. Let's do it at $250. And let's cut this to 250 as well. And numbers have changed a little bit. Let's change the miscellaneous to, let's go to 50, right? Guarantee there's a lot of things that are miscellaneous there, and so on and so forth. So now we have a surplus of for the month $11. Okay, we're almost there. So what else can we do? Sometimes in this scenario, I wouldn't tell someone that they need to cut some more. If they're not willing, it's all in willingness. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of this for this, right? And so what does that mean? Does that mean, that means take a look at the budget and see where you can pay maybe down some debts quicker, putting in a little extra money somewhere, finding an extra job temporarily just to pay down debt. Because guaranteed, if you pay down like a loan that you had and you got rid of that expense, boom, that's an extra $200 that you can use towards something else, and you wouldn't feel like you're falling behind. The first half, you're gonna feel like you're behind, and then the second half, you're gonna feel like you have $420 left over. And what happens in the mind, most of the time, is that because you see $420 in your account extra and all bills are paid, essentially, you go and spend it. So average person will go and spend that money, and then they find they're negative again in the first half, and then they go into the credit card, and then it gets horrendous. And so the saying that I always use for people to think about is, if you don't tell your money where to go, it will just leave you. And it's true, it will just leave you. And that's not a fun feeling, because then you just feel like you're living check to check, and that's just not fun. And so what can this person do? This person can cut down expenses a little bit. I mean, there's $100 in miscellaneous, but that means cutting down on maybe some bad habits of that sort. Now imagine if you did have $420 left over in the second half, which covered the first half, so that you're not feeling behind. It's kind of like zero base. You're making no headway in any way. You're just surviving. Okay, you have a roof over your head, you can eat food, you have a car, you pay insurance, so on and so forth. Let's just say you pay off the credit card because it's the highest interest, 19.99%, and we get rid of that. You now have a surplus. This is how important it is to stay debt free and try to stay debt free in most parts, is an extra $111. If you remember in the last video, which I'll link in the top here, where I talked about a Netflix subscription being able to make you that amount of money, go check out that video. A Netflix subscription could be the amount that makes it or breaks it for you in retirement. And so it's so vitally important to do a budget, but not let the budget suck the enjoyment out of your life. But just making tweaks. You don't have to make big strides when it comes to budgeting. You just have to make small tweaks to get the ball rolling and telling where every dollar to go, because money likes to be told what to do. Money is not just gonna do it by itself. You have to tell it where to go. And a perfect example is like when you're buying stocks in a company or dividend stocks or anything like that, you're telling your money to buy that share in order to get more money back. And money will always work harder than you. Money doesn't need sleep. It doesn't need to eat. And it loves to be told what to do. It's kind of a weird relationship with money. And so that is typically how I do a budget. So just kind of a overview of everything that we talked about. Break the month into halves. So the first half to the 15th, or from the 1st to the 15th, and a second half as the 16th of the month to the end of the month. And then putting your fixed expenses in the proper area, where if rent is due on the 1st or the 5th, it's still in the first half of the month, so it should go on the first half. If it falls on the end of the month or the 17th of the month, then you put it on the second half because it falls under the 16th to the end of the month. So put all your bills accordingly in the proper column. And then your variable expenses, this is where you want to track things and list out everything that you have, not to like a T if you don't want to, but like miscellaneous is just clumped together, subscriptions, any bad habits, things like that. And that's where you get most of the change. That's where you get most of the spending that is unrealized. And you can make changes to those if you keep track, go through your bank statements, see where your money is exactly going. The majority of it might be going to fast food or something that is really irrelevant to what you do, and it was just for less spending. and then making those adjustments. And when you make those adjustments, you'll find whether you have a surplus or not. And most of the time, people will find the first month is pretty heavy because psychologically, a lot of people will be like, oh, I want my payment to be on the first. Oh, I want it to be at the end of the month. And typically that's like in the same area for the most part. And so when you do a budget and you're maybe getting a loan or something, you can decide which it fits better so that it's better to manage, easier to manage, so that you have a positive cash flow on both sides of the halves, if that makes sense. And so that is how I do a budget. Hopefully that was as clear as possible for you guys. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments section down below. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm definitely not your financial advisor. This is just an example to show you how to find some extra funds to put in investment. Because once you find $111, you just go up to here, you delete this, and you put investment here. It pops up, boom, tab over and put 50 bucks. And now you're telling your money exactly where to go. And if you're telling your money exactly where to go, it is guaranteed to go into the investment and make money for you, because you're treating your investments like a bill, just like you treat your rent, your vehicle payments, your phone bills, and so on and so forth. And so hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.